Welcome all once again to this third session of the webinars to be better prepared for the job and career fair of the University of Porto. This webinar will be held in English for those who are the international students and also for the national students in order to improve your English skills, your language skills. Today we have with us Gonçalo Pereira from Teleperformance that is going to talk about the online recruitment and selection processes and how we can be better prepared for it. Gonçalo is graduated in Business Administration and Management from the Universidade Católica Portuguesa. He began his professional career at Capgemini, having subsequently collaborated in companies such as Michael Page, Multicultural Group, and Adecco. He joined Teleperformance in May 2018, assuming the functions of Talent Acquisition Manager, and currently he has the responsibility of the attracting and managing talent areas. Welcome, Gonçalo. Thank you so much for being here and for accepting our invitation to talk about these online recruitment processes and how we can be deal with them and how to be better prepared for this process. Thank you so much.
Hi, Fernanda. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Fernanda and the Universidade do Porto, for inviting me and for having me. And yes, today we're gonna dig deeper on the online recruitment process, not only at Teleperformance Portugal and the way that we do it, but being this the beginning of what other companies may be doing, if not yet, in the near future. So I'll start sharing my screen, and whenever.
Yes, you have the permissions to do it.
Yeah, I know. Please just give me insight on if I'm sharing it or not. I am, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, perfect. Okay, hi everyone, besides Fernanda, and thank you so much for joining me today. So today's agenda will be focused on, as I told you, Teleperformance recruitment process, stating that this is not a post-COVID-19 way of recruiting at Teleperformance. So we were already doing so and applying most of these methodologies and tools before the pandemic. And why is that? Because we hire more than 50% of our workforce from abroad. So we had to have a really agile recruitment process already focused on virtual tools. So in Teleperformance, and just so that you all can understand, we have two major recruitment areas. One focused on recruiting everybody that joins us as customer service reps. So the base of our pyramid, of our corporate pyramid. And then we have the managerial roles, and these are the roles that are recruited, hired by the team that I'm managing at this point in time. Besides the different stages, we will focus on also our assessment center phase or stage. Then we're gonna dwell on the main differences that we identified in between online and face-to-face recruitment processes or process, and how to be better prepared for a virtual recruitment process. So, of course, everything starts with an application, and at Teleperformance, everything starts with an application either through LinkedIn or our site jobs. Then our recruiters, so our talent acquisition specialists, screen every application. And in a second step of screening, we do a phone screening where we try to understand the major topics that we need to identify previous of inviting a candidate to a face-to-face interview. And after that, we apply our assessment center, where we focus on online tests. We also run an interview with a hiring manager, and in some profiles, we run specific tests. After the interviews, we always run a background check to every single candidate, and then it comes the job offer. How and why do we background check? So more and more companies need to make sure that people that join their companies and their roles are people that we can call them trustworthy. And I've seen, trust me, for more than once in my 15 years experience in recruitment, some resumes that don't completely match with the person that we are interviewing, and background check is a really good tool to identify if someone talks the talks and walks the walk. Okay, so our assessment center, and now focusing on what do we try to evaluate within our online tests. So we always run an English test, and we follow the common European framework to categorize someone's level from A1 to C2, meaning that we have, of course, a threshold where we hire only people that have at least B2 level. So this is an intermediate English level. Then we have our gamified assessment, and this gamified assessment, as I told you, was already being deployed before the pandemic, where we try to assess, depending on the role that we are hiring, different dimensions on the candidate's capabilities. So we have a test, an assessment to understand someone's executive attention, working memory, spatial checking. We measure deductive logical reasoning. We measure numerical comprehension, and we are also measuring personality traits. And so that you understand why do we do this and why do we gather this information, because now and moreover, we are trying to understand the prediction on a certain profile and the future performance that that specific profile will have in a specific job function. And of course, that these tests are all mobile, are all adaptable to every kind of tool, hardware, software, whatever. And people may even now, I know that people don't have, but this is the reason why we started to deploy these tests in a virtual way. People used to commute sometimes in between work and their job. Nowadays, this time is not considered anymore because people work at home. But during this commute time, we had to adapt and have people, for example, at least for half an hour, doing their assessment, because most of the times people don't like to be assessed when they are within their daily function and working for other company for other companies. So this is the reason why we adapted and we went full mobile on our assessment. Then we run a talent acquisition interview with my teams, where we try to understand background, professional experience, studies, hobbies, basically trying to connect all the dots in between what is stated in the resume and what candidates can add on to try to connect the different experiences and the motivations to change from one experience to another one. We also try to understand what candidates want regarding their future, professional future, their motivation, their development areas, and also we try to understand how knowledgeable you are as a candidate towards our company or the specific job position that someone applied to. As I told you, some positions. For example, a graphic designer, we run a graphic test. A content creator, we run a writing test. Or even if we hire a data scientist, we run data science tests using and matching tools as Excel, database tools, programming tools, etc. So how do we understand and how do we try to understand, to focus on the pros and cons on online versus face-to-face interview? So as a pro, we identified that the face-to-face interview is a process, is a stage where we can really understand and read body language. Sometimes is not so readable body language when we are in an online interview. We have full focus of the candidate, and we also have full focus on the candidate, something that sometimes may not happen in an online interview. And why is that? Sometimes we have pop-ups in our laptops or in our computers, and we are doing an interview, and all of a sudden there's a new popping up, and our attention will probably go from full focus on the interview to a specific pop-up or to our phone where we got a message or whatever. We can, and candidate can, try to imagine themselves working in that specific company, working in that specific office, working in that environment, something that in a virtual recruitment process, we cannot get that sense of, will I like to work in this office? Will I like to work with this environment? Will I like to talk with the people that I come across before getting to the interview, to the interview room, and after being in the interview room? So these are some pros that we now consider that we lost regarding the online recruitment process. Nonetheless, the online also has a lot of pros. So we save time, so we don't have the commute time, and most of the interviews can be run in working hours. It's easier to schedule. We just sit and we ask someone, when are you available? And someone working at their home just visits their agenda, their schedules, and says, hey, I have this slot available, I can do an interview at this time. And the online recruitment process also tends to shorten the time to place, so the time to fill the hiring time to fill. Has a con, the face-to-face requires more preparation and it's more difficult to schedule, while in the online cons, we feel that it's less comfortable to do what we are doing today, talk to a computer with cameras shut down, and we cannot understand the reaction, and we cannot adapt our speech to the audience expressions and gesture. We might have, and we might face tech issues, and as I told before, we can end up, how should and how can we prepare to a recruitment process? And the first point I would say, it's completely trivial based to either face-to-face or virtual interview. So we need to review our resumes. We need to know what we have within our resumes. We need to know what we are going to discuss. We need to understand the job description. So we need to reread carefully the role that we applied for, and the interview that we are going to attend to will be focused on a specific role in a specific company. So we should be aware that, and we will see that afterwards. a question that might arise is, why did you apply to this specific role or to our company? We need to research the company. Not only, I would say that nowadays we should not focus not only on our website. We should read some articles, go through LinkedIn and run a search on that company, on the people that work on that company, watch some videos on the YouTube channel, social media. So there's a lot of channels nowadays that can help us understand the type of company and the type of role that we applied for. So these are some tips that could help us prepare to a recruitment process. We can and we should also run and use some free assessments, free tests, online tests to be better prepared to questions like, what are your main development areas? What are your main strengths? Almost doing a SWOT analysis, and this is something that we all academically learned. In the SWOT analysis is an exercise that I would say nowadays that we applied it in a daily basis in our not only professional but also academic experience. So these tests are also a great way of understanding who we are and why do we choose something in detriment of another thing. While we are doing the tests, we should understand that, and this meaning when you are in a recruitment process and you are already in the assessment center stage, you should be in a calm place with no distractions at all. Try to be fully, I would say 1000, not 100%, 1000% focused on that specific moment, because that is a moment where people can move forward in the recruitment process or just fall in the recruitment process. And we need to read carefully the questions that are presented and pay attention to time. Time is always an important issue, I would say, topic that sometimes becomes an issue to our candidates, because people tend to do everything right that they have to do it. And some exercises have a complex algorithm in their background where time-wise is better to do more questions and miss some more than do just one question, answer just one question and be 100% sharp in the answer that we gave, but we just did one question. Nowadays, companies try to tend to focus on people that can process loads of information and that can make decisions with loads of information in a short period of time. So most of the times these assessments, these online tests have a complex algorithm where the sake of time and the amount of answers that you answer is better to miss 50% out of 10 answered questions that have just one question answered and completely sharp on the answer that we gave. We must, and this is mandatory, to prepare not only for the first talent interview, but also the one with the hiring manager. Hiring managers will ask different questions. Hiring managers is not a second stage in the recruitment process for the hiring manager. It's their first stage. And if my team, if we present 2 candidates for the hiring manager, that's the first stage. So we need to prepare as good for one interview as the other one. We need to prepare our communication. We need to have a strong pitch. We must and we can practice this speech with our family, with our friends, or even in the mirror. We should mirror the interview, the pitch that we're gonna present to the interviewer. We should and we must also, as I told you before, prepare on our SWOT analysis, our strengths, what are our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. We should run a SWOT analysis on us before running an interview. We should also prepare for possible questions that the recruiter or the hiring manager might question us, and we should have our own questions prepared, like those trigger questions that will make you candidate understand if that is the company that has the best cultural fit with the person that you are. Companies are focusing more and more in the soft skill side of every professional instead of just the hard skills side. So when I make this difference in between soft and hard skills usually typically technical questions, like and closed answer questions like, do you use Excel in a daily basis? Do you know how to run an a specific environment in a specific job role? Are you a team worker? Are you someone enjoyable to be around? Are you multitasked? Are you flexible? So these are some questions that probably will be asked and that you will be facing. As I told you, what can you expect has or on the company side of the interviews? So what makes a job interesting to you? Why did you apply? Would this job at some point in time demotivate you? Why and when? How do you ensure that, or how do you ensure me that you will meet your deadlines? Are you organized? Why do you say you are organized? Tell me about a task force or a project. Sometimes academic projects are as good as professional projects. And what role did you play in that group? So most of the times, probably academic wise, you have to prepare some decks, some presentations, some business cases. What role did you play in that specific role, in that specific project? Do you tend to prepare information? Do you tend to present information? Do you tend to discuss openly the questions? Do you tend to prepare questions up front, and when you meet with your group, with your teammates, is just a matter of deciding on the path to follow? So these are specific questions that you can expect to be asked. Then how should and how could you prepare to an online, or even I would say, because this is really generic, a recruitment process? So always arrive early. Of course, nowadays is easier because of the virtual recruitment process to arrive on time. If online, test upfront all the equipment, all the tools. Make sure that you are in a calm place, when possible, with no distraction. Try to be there and try to shut your cell phones, shut down the notifications, shut down the pop-ups. Try to, I would say, replicate what a face-to-face interview would be. So you would be sitting in a room with just one, maybe two recruiters or two interviewers. So try to replicate that environment. Of course, that being at home, pressure-wise, I would say it would be easier because you are in your own environment. Nonetheless, try to isolate yourself from all the distractions that can or could present to yourself. Take a proactive approach. Always be prepared for surprise. So being proactive means that an interview is not just answering questions. An interview, you can imagine it, you can picture it as a conversation in between two people that don't know each other, and their goal is to know each other. So I know that usually there's this pressure topic and this adrenaline rush before an interview. Adrenaline is good, but up to a certain point, and try to understand where's your perfect adrenaline point, because this will make you proactive, this will make you interested, and this will make you be fully aware of what you are saying and fully focusing on the questions that the interviewer is asking you. So I'm not trying to take all the adrenaline out of an interview process. Nonetheless, you should have the same level of adrenaline as in a coffee shop conversation with someone that you don't know, because the purpose of that conversation is for you to know the company and the recruiter, and for the recruiter to know you, your professional / academic background. So if I can say and try to simplify what an interview is, I would simplify it to just a conversation in between two people that don't know each other and that want to know really each other. Don't forget to be the best version of yourself in every recruitment process. And this is I would say the main topic throughout our workshop. You try to be the best version of yourself, because the best version of yourself in an interview will be better when you join the company, because your adrenaline levels won't be so high and you can be just yourself. And if you try to be the best version of yourself in an interview, when you join the company, you would be even better, and the expectations that the recruiter or the hiring manager had on your performance probably will be surpassed, because you will feel at home within that company with that specific hiring manager that you met. And I would now open, Fernanda, I don't know if we have that time, to question and answers that candidates or students might have.
Yes, of course we have. We have here also one question in the chat. I have questioned the participants if they had already experienced the online and the on-site interview, and what were the major differences related to that. And we have here one question from one of the students asking is, in the online interview, what are the body language signals that you, recruiter, are looking for, or that you are most aware of? The body language signals. I mean, the non-verbal communication that the job seeker is showing. And you, recruiter, do you really value this non-verbal communication?
Yes, I would say so. We do value the non-verbal communication. We do focus on people's body language. We do focus on people's reaction. And just as an example, if I'm interviewing someone and I'm feeling that that person is quite anxious or stressed, probably I'll change my interview style and I'll try to adapt, or I would probably even stop at that point in time the interview and just be really honest and say, hey, do you want some time to breathe? It's okay. You have time to breathe. You have time to recompose yourself. Some people deal better with anxiety than others. And this is something that in a virtual recruitment process, and imagine that I'm interviewing someone and their camera is down, I won't be able to evaluate or to help the person to be the best version of themselves. So yes, we tend to focus on body language. Yes, we tend to focus on, does that specific candidate talk with their hands, with their with a closed posture, because these are all tips to analyze if that person is feeling comfortable and if we should adapt the way that we are interviewing.
Very well. And we have also here another question: if Teleperformance has an assessment procedure for new and spontaneous applications.
We have an assessment, standardized assessment, that we apply to all the talent, I would say, entrance points, because within our area, we are probably evolving from the talent acquisition naming to just a talent naming. And why is that? Because we have different endpoints where we can hire and assess people. Besides the external candidates, we also deal with the internal mobility. We also deal with career development plan. So we have different endpoints. And yes, we assess people throughout the application. We assess people throughout the recruitment, and we assess people in a standard way, disregarding the entrance point.
Very well. I don't know if anyone can, if anyone has other question, please, you can write here in the chat. But I would ask you, Gonçalo, during this, during the online interviews and comparing them with the on-site, with the presential one, you were talking about some differences between them, but for you as a recruiter, what are the main difficulties when conducting an interview through Zoom or other platform and on site? For you, what are the big difficulties?
For me nowadays is easier because I just hire for my team, so I don't have to recruit for other teams and for other job roles. I'm a people person, Fernanda, so I always like to meet in person. And for me, it's not even an issue or even a topic, the thing of interviewing through Zoom or Teams or whatever. For me, the problem or the issue or the topic comes when I have a new joiner in my team and I don't get to know them in person. So imagine I had already the opportunity to hire post-COVID, of course, but I already had the opportunity to meet those team members in person. But some people do not meet their manager, their director, and even their employee for 1 year, 1.5 years. And this is where I would say the main difference is, because when you hire someone virtually and you work with that person virtually, when you meet with that same person, would you say that the virtual is the same as the face-to-face? Because I would say no, because the physicality of just sharing a space, handshaking, or just
Yes.
pump fisting or whatever is completely different than just having a laptop or a computer and the camera and talking to a laptop, because you are in full control of your environment. And this specific model that we are today
Yes.
running this workshop, but I'm fully in control of my environment, the same way that you, Fernanda, are in full control of your environment, the same way that everybody that is attending is in full control of their environment. And this is the main difference when you come from the virtual space to a physical meetup.
Yes. Yes. So you're talking about the onboarding, the online onboarding at the company. And nowadays we are seeing that a lot of companies are doing this, the online onboarding. And for our students that are here listening to this, to your sharings, what suggestions would you give them to better face these onboarding processes?
As I told you, I'm a people person. So I would always ask to meet the company. even if the company is empty, just try to understand where are our offices. What's the mood that I get from going to that specific office? Try to picture how would be this office with 50, 100, 200 employees. So I think, and this is really personal, that probably in a couple of years we won't have the same model, the same just full 100% work at home model, and I feel that we will evolve to a probably hybrid situation.
Yes.
Should that be the only moment where you meet the office, the company, and the people that you're gonna work with? I don't think so. So I invite students to ask and try to visit at least the would-be office in the near or medium term future.
Yes, very well. And I have other question. It's related with what we are now listening more of the agile recruitment,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we are now listening more of this term due to the online recruitment processes. But I believe that a company, even before the COVID situation, maybe would have this kind of recruitment, the agile recruitment in their companies as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a new issue, right?
No, agile recruitment was already a topic before or pre-pandemic. Agile recruitment is not only a matter of virtual interviews. So agile recruitment comes to measuring the different steps, the different stages, try to be more efficient, how to utilize tools to be more efficient. For example, we now manage our recruitment process, if we want, fully mobile, from the stage where the hiring manager requests a job role to the stage where we just share candidates with the hiring manager, and the hiring manager can do this in their cell phones. So agile recruitment is not only this thing of virtual interviews, is a huger topic where, well, we start on measuring phases and try to improve in each recruitment stage.
Okay, very well, thank you. And well, we see that these new generations, Zeta generation, millennials, they are really prepared for these technology issues, digital platforms and social media. I think that they are really prepared for it. But do you think, as a recruiter, that they are prepared to this situation of interviews, these online interviews? Because we see that they don't really have issues when it comes to technology, but do they have some difficulties in presenting themselves and creating impact to the recruiters when it comes to an online interview? Do you feel that they are prepared?
I feel I don't feel that is even an issue or a topic. I feel Gen Z is already prepared. The only thing that this generation might not be fully prepared, Fernanda, in my personal opinion, is for the pace of each company. So this generation usually, and of course I have this generation within my team, and that's why I can say it this way. This generation usually thinks that companies need to move fast, really fast. And sometimes companies don't move as fast. Sometimes companies have procedures. Of course, we can change procedures. Of course, we can adapt procedures, but it's not expected, and it should not be expected for a company to change, for example, their software in a week time, or that specific tool in a week time. And sometimes, I don't know, this specific thing on the world moves really fast, but not even the best companies in the world move that fast.
Yes.
So there's probably a gap in between moving faster expectations and meeting deadlines and disruption with where the company is and how fast can this company move. And we work with the best companies in the world, most of them known and used by everybody in this virtual room. And not even those companies move as fast as people or this new generation expects them to move. Because we know the world moves really fast. Should the companies move that fast? And that is my question mark.
Yeah, very well. So this webinar, is in English, and it was also to give this opportunity to the international students of the university, of course, but also to make a kind of bridge or connection between what is the teleperformance role, because as you said, you have a lot of you work with a lot of other companies around the world, right? And the importance of our students to think globally. And when we talk about globally, is in an international way. So we have here a question of one of our students. If someone doesn't speak English fluently or proficient in a proficient way, is there a condition for not choosing that person?
So Fernanda, we have, and thank you, Teresa, for that question. We have now in Portugal roundabout, just Teleperformance Portugal, roundabout 11,000 employees. Those 11,000 employees come from 95 different nationalities working in Portugal. We, in a language perspective, manage clients in roundabout 35 native languages and dialects. Of course, that I can say that we have domestic market and we have the multilingual market. If someone wants to join Teleperformance and grow within the company, this English level should be required. At least, as I told you, I wouldn't say fluent or proficient, I would say intermediate. So when I state intermediate, is someone that is able to run or do an interview in our specific case with someone from Czech Republic, someone from Russia, someone from Japan or China even. So if we have a common language within Teleperformance Portugal, where we manage roundabout, as I told you, 11,000 employees with 95 nationalities, we need to have the English as our base language. But as I told you, we also have domestic market operations where Portuguese is just as good as any other language. But their progression internally probably won't be as diverse.
Yes, very well. And in an interview, you also try to check if what is the level of the English. Yes,
always.
Okay.
So there's no, although we run the online assessment, there's no online assessment that manages to give or to attribute the level, English in this case, a level to a person. So for that reason, we also have to complement what we evaluate in the online assessment, that we evaluate grammar, we evaluate vocabulary, etc., with the oral fluency that we evaluate in an interview.
Mm-hmm. And Gonçalo, I don't know if anyone else has some questions. I'm doing these questions because I think that is important for students and also alumni that are attending the webinar. But I would like to ask you, the interviews, it's not only in a basis of one-to-one, right? This means that you also have this kind of interviews with more than one people of your team. Or maybe some different people from other departments.
Yes, usually we have two stages, two one-to-one stages. The first one is with my team, so with the recruiter that is managing that specific vacancy, and then there's another stage where the candidate meets the hiring manager. Usually the hiring manager is the person that requested that specific vacancy. Imagine if I want to recruit for my team, usually what would happen was, and this is not the case because it's from a team, but just has a perspective, what would happen would be someone within my team would interview the candidates. Imagine 10 candidates, they would shortlist 2-3 candidates, and then I would interview those 2-3 candidates. Sometimes in this second stage of face-to-face interview, we can have in the same room 2-3 people, depending on how and who should decide and how cooperative would be that decision on that specific candidate.
Okay,
but we don't like to have more than 2 interviews, so one-on-one interviews.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have here a question from Julio. He's asking specifically at Teleperformance if there are any opportunities to PhD students.
Yes.
Yes, related also to innovation development. Yeah.
We are now, and probably this is not something that the market is fully aware, but we are one of the most disruptive companies across, I would say, the country when it comes to digital transformation, when it comes to automation, when it comes to transform our processes and tools. As I told you before, we work for the best companies in the world, and to work with maintain those companies as our partners, we need to move really fast, and we don't move fast just internally. Most of this experience, most of these innovations are innovations that we create to help our clients to move even faster and to transform even their tools and to be more digital than they used to be.
Okay, very well. It's really important that the information that you gave us, because sometimes I believe that some of us don't really have the chance to know what is teleperformance and the impact of teleperformance in the process that you have mentioned. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much also for that awareness. Any other questions that you might have related to this, to teleperformance, to the online and recruitment processes and opportunities at this company, or in a general way? Anyone has another question related to that? Yeah, Teresa says that sometimes the company asks us what we would like to do in the future, but it is difficult to answer that because we don't have a lot of experience and don't know a lot about the labor market. What do you suggest us to do or to answer on that time?
I love this question. Thank you, Teresa. You don't have to know what you would like to do, but you must know what you wouldn't like to do. So the first step is to understand what you really don't want. Imagine, as Fernanda stated before, I'm a business administration student, and I knew from day one that I didn't want to move to an audit career. If you ask me, would you like to be or to have a human resources career? I wouldn't have an answer on that question. but I would know. And at that point in time, more than 15 years ago, when I was finishing my graduation, I already knew that I didn't want to be an auditor. So the best way of knowing what you want to do is knowing what you don't want to do.
And perhaps experiencing what we some opportunities, right? In order to check if you really like them. Yeah.
And nowadays in our market, it's okay to try and to say, this is not for me. So I think that people should, I wouldn't say move as much, because this could be danger if I put it this way, but people shouldn't, how to put it, shouldn't stick with an experience for quite some time just because they need to be there quite some time. If you're not enjoying it, if that was not what you thought it would be, change. Don't do that to yourselves. Try to find something, and this is why I understand and I cope with Fernanda. Try as much, but if you don't like, it's not a problem. You will have more than 40 years in the market, so you will have time to experience. You will have time to find what you like. Just don't fall on that. Don't fall on that cycle of doing something that you don't enjoy and do it for quite some time.
Thank you, Gonçalo. And I think that to finish, if we want to present our interest to the teleperformance assessment or opportunities, what is the best way to do it? You will be in the 28th April in the live fair, but despite that, what can we do it? How can we do it?
Either through our LinkedIn, where we already have some vacancies posted, but through our jobs, jobs.teleperformance.com, for sure you will have every vacancy there.
Okay, and do you have someone, Vanya is asking here, if you have a maximum age for employees?
No, we don't.
Issue?
No, we don't. It's not at all. We are, I would like to say that we are one of the most diverse and inclusive companies in, I wouldn't say in the country, I would say in the world. We have people from 18 to 50s, 60s years old, and age, gender, we don't discriminate, period.
Yes, it's really great to hear also that. So I think that we are now really finishing. Teresa is doing here a comment that I really think that fits, that some people is afraid to make risks and to go in the adventure.
I would go with even further, Teresa. There's no age to be afraid to risk. Why should someone in our 40s, 50s be afraid to risk? If it's for the good, for the greater good of yourself, risk.
And don't be afraid of it.
Of course.
We learn from it as well. Well, it was really
try
good.
to make the best out of every experience that you have, regardless age or the experience or the manager or the company. Try to make the best and to get the positives out of it. That will be the best learning that you will have throughout your life. And I wouldn't say just professionally wise.
Yeah, you said something during the conversation that is really important for me. It's to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And I think that with this sentence and this perspective, we say everything. In fact, Gonçalo, it was a pleasure. I really think that our students and alumni that are here attending us and that are at the platform, at the live stream, are also really thankful for your insights, for your sharing, for bringing us your perspective as well, the teleperformance perspective. And from us, UPorto, it's really good. It's a pleasure to have you here and to have you at the Job and Career Fair. So we will meet together at April, at 28 on Wednesday at our live day. So for those who are here attending this webinar, please go to the virtual stand, to the virtual booth of the Teleperformance on Wednesday and ask these questions and get to know the companies and to present yourselves as well. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Gonçalo.
Thank you so much, Fernanda. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending, and thank you, Universidade de Porto. And we will always be available for any workshop or activity that you want us to be present.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will stay here until the day until the end of the day with another webinar at 30 past 5. Yes, we have another webinar related to the transition career challenges. So I'll meet you on that time. Thank you so much, and
Bye.
see you.
Take care. Bye.
See you.